The elite geniuses of the future have gathered, and they all want one thing: Chen Changsheng dead. But destiny has a different plan. Deep within the shadows, he comes face to face with legendary Blue Dragon, unlocking a forbidden godly power that will shake the entire continent. Can anyone stop him now? Get ready, because today we are breaking down the epic mega combo recap of Way of Choices episode 7 and 8. Let's dive straight into the story. As the episode continues, Chen Changsheng couldn't help but worry about the situation. Outside, everyone was preparing for the upcoming Imperial Examination, while he was still unable to sense the aura of his destiny star. According to the cultivation records, once a cultivator reaches the sitting illumination realm, they can observe their sea of consciousness and understand the true nature of their starlight. However, Changsheng had not yet completely mastered the marrow cleansing realm. Without doing so, breaking through forcefully could cost him his life. This left him trapped in an impossible situation. He couldn't advance without understanding his starlight, and he couldn't understand his starlight without advancing. While struggling with this problem, Changsheng noticed a light coming from Luoluo's residence. Thinking that his disciple had returned, he immediately went to check. However, the person inside wasn't Luoluo at all. It was the mysterious noble lady he had met before. Believing that she was unable to hear or speak, Changsheng politely greeted her. Since she didn't respond, he became even more convinced that she was both deaf and mute. What Changsheng didn't know was that this woman was actually Empress Tian herself. The lady offered him a cup of tea. It was snowflower tea, an extremely rare and special drink. The familiar fragrance immediately calmed Changsheng's restless mind. While drinking, he thought about his promise to the Black Dragon. He had vowed to help her escape one day, and before the Imperial Examination began, he wanted to fulfill that promise. Using sign language, he asked the noble lady how he could reach the cold pool. The woman wrote a single word using the T, ice. That was the clue Changsheng needed. Meanwhile, throughout Chengdu City, betting halls had become crowded as people placed wagers on the upcoming Imperial Examination. Every famous genius from every continent had become the target of countless bets. The betting hall master introduced a new candidate, a so-called dark horse. That person was Chen Changsheng. However, the crowd immediately burst into laughter. In their eyes, Changsheng was merely a marrow-cleansing cultivator who had foolishly declared that he would claim first place in the Imperial Examination. No one believed in him. At that moment, Tong 36 arrived. Without hesitation, he placed an enormous amount of gold on Changsheng. Everyone thought he had lost his mind. But Tong 36 proudly declared that Changsheng was both his friend and his master. He trusted him completely, and was certain that everyone else would regret doubting him. Elsewhere, Changsheng continued following the clue left behind by the mysterious woman. After searching throughout the city, he finally discovered a strange well-emitting freezing mist. Without hesitation, he jumped inside. Just as before, countless stone spikes attacked him from every direction. Skillfully dodging them, Changsheng descended deeper and deeper until he finally reached the underground cavern where the Black Dragon was imprisoned. The dragon immediately recognized him. Remembering their previous meeting, Changsheng greeted her respectfully and promised that he had returned to fulfill his word. Unfortunately, he made a huge mistake. He accidentally called her Elder Dragon. Instantly angered, the dragon attacked him. A moment later, she transformed into her human form, a beautiful young girl. Her name was Shuang'er, the last descendant of the Mystic Ice Dragon clan. Changsheng quickly realized his mistake. Calling a young girl elder was clearly not a good idea. Fortunately, Shuang'er soon calmed down. She admitted that humans rarely keep their promises, but Changsheng had actually returned. Because of that, she decided to trust him. Shuang'er then revealed the dragon sealing formation that had imprisoned her for 500 years. The formation was covered with ancient dragon runes. After examining it carefully, Changsheng realized that breaking the formation would be impossible unless he first learned the dragon language. Luckily, Shuang'er agreed to teach him. Thus began Changsheng's training. In exchange for lessons, Shuang'er demanded mountains of meat. After spending a huge amount of gold, Changsheng brought her enough food to satisfy her appetite. While happily devouring the meat, Shuang'er began teaching him the language of dragons. Days passed. Changsheng learned the basic patterns of dragon runes and eventually reached the final stage of the training, breaking the formation itself. Following Changsheng's instructions, Shuang'er released her spiritual power into several key points marked by his golden needles. At first, everything seemed successful. The chains binding her body began to disappear. For the first time in 500 years, freedom seemed within reach. But suddenly, the formation changed. Two enormous guardian statues activated themselves. Golden chains shot out and instantly restrained Shuang'er once again. The statues revealed the reason for her imprisonment. According to them, Shuang'er had killed many humans in the past and was therefore classified as an evil dragon. Shuang'er immediately defended herself. 500 years ago, frightened humans had attacked her first. She had only fought back to protect herself. If she had not defended herself, she would have died. Changsheng agreed with her. The statues claimed that Shuang'er could only be released when floodwaters rose above Baicao Bridge. However, Changsheng knew such a thing was practically impossible. In other words, they never intended to free her at all. Unfortunately, the statues refused to listen. They declared that Shuang'er had violated the formation and sentenced her to immediate execution. Their giant swords descended toward her. Changsheng instantly pushed her aside and saved her from the attack. Realizing that reasoning was useless, he leaped into the air and struck directly at one statue's core. But because he lacked spiritual power, he couldn't destroy it. The resulting backlash sent him flying. Watching this, Shuang'er became extremely worried. At that moment, Changsheng finally understood how important spiritual power truly was. To save Shuang'er, to win the Imperial Examination, and to overcome every challenge ahead, he needed to break through, right now, even if it meant risking his life. Inside his sea of consciousness, Changsheng finally discovered the truth. Unlike ordinary cultivators who possessed a small pond of starlight, his entire sea of consciousness was covered by a vast frozen snowfield. The ice itself was his starlight. His power had never disappeared, it had simply been frozen all along. Realizing this, Changsheng used the flames released by his destiny star to melt the endless field of ice. The frozen starlight rapidly transformed into a vast ocean of power. At last, he successfully refined his true essence. Changsheng had finally broken through into the sitting illumination realm. Opening his eyes, he saw that Shuang'er was still in danger. Without hesitation, he unleashed his newly acquired spiritual power. Using the Heavenly Dao sword technique, he launched a single devastating strike. Boom! The guardian statue shattered into countless pieces from just one attack. At the same time, Chen Changsheng was experiencing the true power of the sitting illumination realm for the very first time. However, the second guardian statue wasn't going to give him any time to celebrate. It immediately tried to crush him beneath its massive foot. Fortunately, Changsheng reacted instantly. Using the shadow step technique, he vanished from his position and appeared at a safe distance. Then, leaping into the air, he activated another movement skill, the Zhongshan wind and rain technique. The statue had no way to counter it. In reality, Changsheng already possessed knowledge of countless techniques. The only difference was that he had never possessed enough spiritual power to use them before. Now that he had finally broken through, everything was different. Gathering spiritual energy into his weapon, Changsheng unleashed a final attack aimed directly at the statue's core. Boom! The strike landed perfectly. The statue's core shattered instantly, and the giant construct collapsed into pieces. With that single attack, Changsheng destroyed the second guardian statue and successfully saved Shuang'er. As soon as the statues were destroyed, the golden chains binding Shuang'er disappeared. She looked at Changsheng with amazement. "You really surprised me," she said. "You broke through to the sitting illumination realm in just a few moments. You're truly remarkable. I've never met anyone as talented as you." But before she could finish praising him, Changsheng suddenly collapsed to one knee. Pain surged throughout his body. The remaining meridians inside him were beginning to shatter. Changsheng explained that he had forcefully awakened his spiritual power, using a burning transformation method. The pressure was simply too much for his damaged meridians to endure. The moment she heard this, Shuang'er panicked. "If we don't do something quickly, your starfire will consume your entire body." She began flying around, desperately searching for a solution. Meanwhile, Changsheng felt completely helpless. For days he had struggled to understand why he couldn't cultivate normally. Now he finally knew the truth, yet it seemed his breakthrough might kill him anyway. If things continued like this, he would never be able to change his fate. But giving up was not an option. Seeing his condition worsen, Shuang'er became emotional. Without hesitation, she released her dragon flame and used it to temper Changsheng's body. "You can't leave me this soon," she shouted. "You still haven't broken the entire formation, and if you die, who's going to bring me meat?" Despite her efforts, the dragon flame had almost no effect. Zhuang'er froze in confusion. "That's impossible. My dragon breath should be able to suppress your energy." Suddenly, a realization appeared in her eyes. If the starfire was truly burning inside Chang's sea of consciousness, then he should have died long ago. Yet apart from pain, he showed no signs of being destroyed. There could only be one explanation. Changsheng possessed a spirit-connecting heart. According to ancient legends, such a heart connected both the spirit realm and the underworld realm. Only a legendary physique could survive such conditions, an unbreakable body. Among cultivators, the normal path was simple. First came marrow cleansing, then sitting illumination. After mastering that stage, one could advance to spirit connection. But Changsheng was different. He possessed one of the rarest physiques in existence, the primordial celestial body, also known as the unbreakable body. Such a physique appeared only once in countless generations. When Zhuang'er realized this, she was completely stunned. "Changsheng, I can't decide whether you're lucky for me or whether I'm lucky for you." After all, Changsheng had risked his life to save her. Now it was her turn to save him. The starfire was still consuming his body, but thanks to his primordial celestial body, it couldn't kill him immediately. There was still one way to stop it. Zhuang'er would have to give him her dragon essence blood. This was why she called him lucky. Not only did he possess the legendary primordial celestial body, but he was also about to inherit the bloodline power of an ice dragon. Without hesitation, Zhuang'er infused her dragon essence blood into Changsheng's body. The entire cave was instantly filled with powerful dragon aura. As the bloodline merged with him, Changsheng's body underwent a dramatic transformation. Dragon horns began emerging from his head. His physique became stronger and more refined than ever before. At last, his body completed its refinement. However, the process consumed a tremendous amount of energy. Both Changsheng and Zhuang'er collapsed unconscious. The title of this chapter was "The Boy Burning with Passion and the Dragon." Not long afterward, Empress Tian appeared inside the cave. Looking at the unconscious Changsheng, she sighed. "Changsheng, I thought you would die after entering this place, but once again you survived. What should have been a death trap has become another fortunate encounter for you. This time, I admit defeat." With a wave of her hand, she secretly transported Changsheng away. When Changsheng finally woke up, he found himself lying inside his room at the State Religious Academy. He had no idea who had saved him from the cave. Of course, the mysterious savior was none other than Empress Tian. Although many of her plans had indirectly caused trouble for Changsheng, she always ended up helping him whenever things went too far. Soon, Changsheng discovered something incredible. He could finally use spiritual power freely. A smile appeared on his face. That meant he had successfully entered the sitting illumination realm. At the same time, Tang 36 was busy enjoying a roasted chicken leg. Just as he was about to take a bite, a powerful sword slash suddenly flew past and sliced the meat into pieces. Tang 36 nearly jumped out of his seat. Who dares attack this young master? Thinking an enemy had infiltrated the academy, he and Xuanyuanpo rushed toward Changsheng's room. When they arrived, Changsheng calmly explained that he had merely been testing his new powers. However, Tang 36 and Xuanyuanpo were still shocked by the strength of the slash. At that moment, Luoluo's voice could be heard outside. The princess had finally returned to the academy. Then, throughout Chengdu City, enormous bells began ringing. The sound echoed across the entire capital. Everyone immediately understood what it meant. The geniuses of every nation had finally arrived. The Imperial Examination was about to begin. Looking toward the sky, Changsheng remembered both his master and his senior brother. At long last, the day he had come to Chengdu for had finally arrived, and with that, the Grand Dynasty trials officially began. At the beginning of the episode, we are shown the Hall of Light, where the Imperial Examination officially begins as a massive bell echoes throughout the hall. Meanwhile, Changsheng's friends are fully prepared to participate in the examination. The scene then shifts to the bustling market, where geniuses from academies across different continents have gathered. Most of them have come with a single goal in mind: to defeat Chen Changsheng and prove themselves in the Imperial Examination. The noble families and officials welcome these talented cultivators with great enthusiasm. Soon, everyone arrives in front of the Hall of Light. At the same time, Chen Changsheng arrives alongside Tang 36, Luoluo and Xuanyuan Po. All eyes immediately fall upon them. Remembering his master and senior brother, Changsheng silently vows that he will bring honor to their names. The surround cultivators begin mocking him. They point out that Changsheng supposedly lacks spiritual power, yet he still dares to claim that he will take first place in the Imperial Examination. Others ridicule Tang 36 for abandoning Tiandao Academy and choosing to follow Changsheng instead. According to them, Tang has completely lost his mind and even wagered all his money on Changsheng's victory. At that moment, a cultivator named Zhuang Wanyu, who has already reached the first stage of ethereal opening, steps forward. Activating his power, he warns Changsheng that this examination may very well become the last challenge of his life. Without hesitation, he launches an attack. However, Luoluo immediately blocks the strike with her whip. At the same time, several flying blades are aimed at Changsheng, but Tang 36 effortlessly shatters them with his sword. The attackers turn out to be geniuses from the southern continent. The young woman is Ling Haiji, while her companion is DONGHUA. Both are cultivators of the ethereal opening realm. Ling Haiji accuses Changsheng of insulting all the geniuses of the world by claiming he will take the top position. In her eyes, such arrogance deserves punishment. Soon, another cultivator named Go Hanshi appears behind Changsheng. He also stands at the initial stage of ethereal opening and warns Changsheng not to complain after being defeated with a single punch. Despite being surrounded by threats from so many talented cultivators, Changsheng and his companions remain completely calm. Tang 36 laughs and says that barking dogs rarely bite. According to him, the only thing that truly matters is the Imperial Examination itself. The tension rises as several geniuses prepare to attack. Just then, Hanshi makes his entrance. As many viewers remember, Hanshi belongs to the Lishan Sword sect, the same sect connected to Shu Yourong's marriage arrangement. Hanshi immediately tells the southern continent cultivators that they did not come here to start meaningless fights. Their focus should be on winning the Imperial Examination. He then gives the same advice to Changsheng, who calmly agrees. Even then, Zhuang Wanyu warns Changsheng to protect his bones because they might be crushed before the examination ends. Nearby, a mysterious cultivator remains completely silent. Unlike the others, he has no interest in wasting time with threats. His presence alone attracts the attention of both Changsheng and Tang 36. Soon after, the Holy Empress arrives. Tang 36 admits that he still cannot understand the Empress's intentions. She once destroyed the Orthodox Academy, yet later allowed Changsheng to enter it. Now, she is testing him through the Imperial Examination. Changsheng replies that he does not care what the Empress thinks of him. All he knows is that he must win this examination. If he loses, fate will win instead, and that is something he refuses to allow. Everyone then pays their respects to the Holy Empress. She explains that the Imperial Examination was established by the Grand Ancestors and has discovered countless talented cultivators throughout history. The names engraved on the stone monument behind her belong to past champions. Those names are not there to be worshipped. Instead, they exist to inspire future generations. The Empress hopes that the competitors will not only join those legends but eventually surpass them. An elder then explains the rules of the examination. This year's Imperial Examination will take place inside the Green Leaf World, a vast secret realm created by the Holy Empress. The examination consists of 3 rounds. First round, literary examination. The participants' knowledge will be tested. Only those who achieve high scores will advance. Second round, divine consciousness maze. Participants will have 2 hours to find the exit of a massive maze. Third round, martial examination. The final rankings will be determined by combining the scores from all 3 rounds. The top 3 contestants will earn access to the Heavenly Book Pavilion, while the first place winner alone will gain entry into Lingyan Pavilion. Lingyan Pavilion is especially important because it contains the inheritances left behind by countless sages. Hearing this, Changsheng remembers his master's words. To change his destiny, he must enter Lingyan Pavilion. Winning the Imperial Examination is his only path forward. The Holy Empress officially begins the examination. She opens a hidden realm concealed within a tiny green leaf. To everyone's amazement, an entire world descends from the sky. It is a complete miniature realm created through the unimaginable power of a saint. Soon, all participants are pulled inside. The competitors arrive before a grand examination hall where the first round will take place. Both Hanshi and Changsheng are confident because they have studied thousands of scriptures. The examiner, Mao Qiuyu, explains the rules. 36 papers will be provided, and the more questions a participant answers correctly, the higher their score will be. A Tongwen beast sits at every desk and will evaluate the answers. Before the test begins, the mysterious cultivator hands over a demon-slaying token. The moment Mao Qiuyu sees it, he is deeply impressed. The token represents supreme merit earned through slaying demons. Because of this achievement, the mysterious cultivator automatically passes the examination without taking the test. While many participants are confused, Changsheng immediately understands the significance of the token. The first round begins. Except for Tong 36, who appears relaxed as always, everyone takes the examination seriously. Changsheng and Hanshi complete their answers with astonishing speed. When time expires, the Tongwen beasts begin grading. Many participants are eliminated for poor reasoning, grammatical mistakes, or shallow understanding. One by one, countless contestants fail the first round. Tang 36 surprisingly receives praise for his elegant handwriting. Luolua is praised for her profound artistic understanding. Xuanyuan Po passes because, despite his simple answers, every response is accurate. Both Hanshi and Changsheng complete all 36 papers flawlessly. The Tongwen beast declares that their answers are exceptional and grants both of them the highest evaluation. As a result, they tie for first place in the literary examination. Some elders praise Changsheng's talent, while the Lishan Sword Sect Master dismisses the achievement, claiming that true talent can only be proven in the next 2 rounds. The second round, the Divine Consciousness Maze, then begins. The participants are given 2 hours to find the exit and reach Jiuchen Tower, where the final round will be held. As everyone rushes into the maze, Changsheng immediately understands the challenge. The stronger a cultivator's divine consciousness is, the easier it becomes to navigate the maze. Using his divine consciousness, Changsheng scans the entire area. To his surprise, he finds the exit within only a few seconds. However, before he can reach it, a barrage of attacks suddenly blocks his path. Zhuang Huanyu and several other geniuses surround him. Changsheng calmly points out that this round is not a martial competition, so fighting should be unnecessary. Zhuang Huanyu responds that all of this is Changsheng's own fault. By challenging every genius in the world, he made himself everyone's enemy. At the same time, Ling Haiju releases a signal flare. The signal attracts cultivators from all directions, and they immediately rush toward Changsheng. Every one of them wants to teach the arrogant genius a lesson. Realizing that escape is impossible, Changsheng decides to test his newly acquired powers. As the enemies close in, he calmly enters a fighting stance. One cultivator mocks him for not even refining his marrow properly and attacks first. Changsheng effortlessly dodges the strike and counters with a single punch. The attacker crashes violently into the maze wall. Immediately afterward, Changsheng activates his dragon form for the first time. The sight shocks both the participants and the observing elders. No one can understand where this incredible power came from. Even so, Zhuang Huanyu insists that Changsheng still lacks true essence and orders everyone to continue attacking. What they do not know is that Changsheng's true essence exists in a unique form. Using the power of ethereal opening, he melts the frozen sea within his consciousness. The melted ice transforms into true essence, finally granting him access to immense power. With a single punch, he sends several cultivators flying. Declaring that his true essence is simply different from theirs, he launches a relentless counterattack. Punches and kicks rain down upon his enemies. No one can withstand him for more than a few seconds. Even Zhuang Huanyu begins to panic. Still, he convinces himself that Changsheng is forcing his power beyond its limits and will soon collapse from exhaustion. Moments later, Changsheng unleashes another massive explosion of true essence. The observers are stunned. The Holy Empress reveals that Changsheng possesses the legendary Dragon Blood Physique, something that has appeared only once before in history. According to the Empress, the previous owner of this physique was Zhou Dufu, the strongest man beneath the heavens. Realizing that Changsheng must have obtained a great opportunity beneath Tong Palace, the elders finally understand why his power has increased so dramatically. Back inside the maze, countless cultivators have already been defeated. Furious and humiliated, Zhuang Huanyu orders everyone to attack together. The battle escalates as more and more geniuses charged toward Chen Changsheng. So finally, Chen Changsheng defeated numerous opponents and cleared a path for himself through the maze. And honestly, we can't forget Holy Empress Tianhai's contribution here. The rain she summoned inside the secret realm helped Changsheng suppress the backlash of his starfire. Without that intervention, he might have lost control completely. That is exactly why this chapter is called Rain Washes Away the Old Dust. Meanwhile, the elder in charge of the betting hall excitedly announced the latest update. Everyone, the situation has changed in just a few moments. The momentum has completely shifted. Chen Changsheng has defeated all of his opponents and carved a way forward with his own strength. Hearing this, many gamblers became extremely excited, especially those who had placed large bets on Changsheng. At the same time, Master Mo Yu looked toward the Holy Empress and said, "That child is truly a walking miracle." Another elder added, "With his Dragon Blood Physique, Changsheng may even surpass Chu Shanjun in the future." However, Chu Shanjun's master immediately disagreed. "That's impossible. Time's already running out for him. I don't believe he can reach Jiuchen Tower before the deadline." Back inside the divine consciousness maze, Changsheng was rushing toward the tower at full speed. He had already realized that the rain was Holy Empress Tianhai's way of helping him. Soon Jiuchen Tower came into view. However, there was a major problem. To reach the tower, one had to cross a vast distance through the celestial vines. An ordinary movement would take far too long. At that moment, the examiner Mao Chuyu appeared before him. "You certainly have the ability," Mao Chuyu said, "but reaching Jiuchen Tower by crossing these vines will take at least half an hour. Unfortunately, you no longer have that much time." Outside the maze, Changsheng's friends were becoming increasingly worried. The deadline is almost here, but Changsheng is still nowhere to be seen. Just then, disciples from Lishan's sword sect arrived and spoke confidently. "Chen Changsheng isn't even on the celestial vines. There's no point waiting for him. Only 10 breaths of time remain. No one can possibly make it here now." However, before they could finish speaking, a magnificent white crane appeared in the sky. It was none other than Yourong's spiritual bird. Riding on its back was Chen Changsheng. The crowd was immediately shocked. Yourong's father frowned, while the master of Lishan's sword sect was visibly displeased. "Why is Yourong helping him?" he asked angrily. If she hadn't sent that crane, Changsheng would have certainly failed. The story then briefly recalled what had happened after the engagement banquet. On the night when Yourong publicly acknowledged Changsheng as her fiancé, everything seemed to be moving toward an inevitable marriage. But the very next day, Changsheng received a letter from her. In that letter, Yourong explained that she had already devoted her heart to the Tao and had no intention of entering a romantic relationship. She also mentioned that something important had happened in Nanshijai, preventing her from participating in the Imperial Examination. After reading the letter, Changsheng sent a reply of his own. He wrote that he too wished to dedicate himself entirely to cultivation and changing his fate. He promised that he would soon return the marriage contract to her. From that day forward, he would neither put easy expectations on her, nor trouble her again. Now, thanks to the white crane, Changsheng had finally arrived before Jiuchen Tower. An announcement soon echoed throughout the examination grounds. The greatest dark horse of this year's Imperial Examination is none other than Chen Changsheng of the Orthodox Academy. This candidate single-handedly eliminated nearly 100 competitors. As a result, only 16 participants remain for the final round. The crowd erupted into excitement. Who would claim the top position in this year's Imperial Examination? Would Chen Changsheng truly fulfill his promise and seize first place, or would another genius rise above him? And with that suspenseful announcement, the episode comes to an end. Thank you so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you in the next episode.